And today's a good energy day here at KGW, where we shine the spotlight on people, business, and communities doing good things for the environment.
So Chris McGinnis is joining us in the studio. So Chris, this morning you're talking about microplastics and the research being done right here in Portland.
Yeah, so microplastics, they're tiny particles that are shed from clothing and tires and packaging, and they're turning up everywhere in water, in food, and even in human tissue. Portland State University has just launched the Oregon Microplastics Analytical Research Center, or OMARC for short, the first lab in the region dedicated solely to studying them.
If we want to reduce microplastics in the environment, the first step is figuring out where they are.
Dr. Elise Granick runs the Applied Coastal Ecology Lab at Portland State University.
And the second step is figuring out what kind of plastic they are to try to identify where they came from.
Researchers say understanding the threat is just as critical as tracking the source.
So we know in animals that plastics can get lodged in their gut, so it can suppress their eating, and therefore it can suppress their growth rates. We also know that it can affect their reproductive output and is likely tied to the chemical additives in plastics, some of which are endocrine disrupting compounds.
And while not yet definitive in humans, scientists are finding troubling patterns.
A number of studies have come out over the last 2 to 5 years, finding very strong correlations between the severity of certain illnesses and diseases and the concentration of microplastics in that diseased tissue.
This is our laminar flow hood, which keeps a more sterile work environment.
With OMARC now operational, researchers here say they finally have the tools to accelerate that work and better understand exposure in the Pacific Northwest. Inside the lab, research analyst Kelly Teague demonstrates how they isolate particles too small to see with the naked eye.
We're going to separate those particles from the water, get it onto a filter. Let me get something for you to see. And then we can take that filter and look at it under our microscope to see the particles for approximate size, count, color, morphology, things like that. But this is a big chunky piece of tire rubber.
So how much are people being exposed to? What kinds of plastics are they being exposed to? And hopefully to be able to help identify solutions.
Because, as researchers put it, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
So fast fashion is known as a big offender. The short synthetic fibers, especially when new, they get scrubbed off from your clothes in the wash, sending millions of microfiber particles into wastewater per load of laundry. And some of that stuff doesn't even get scoured out in wastewater facilities, so it goes directly into the water. Or even biosolids from wastewater plants get put on agricultural fields. So you can see how everything's all connected here.
Yeah, I feel like we've been hearing more and more about this. What was with the orange jumpsuits?
Oh yeah, that was not fast fashion. They actually use those to help discriminate between any particles that may come off them. Because remember, these things are so tiny. The bright orange is so that they can identify anything that's coming off of them. Wow. So they say, okay, this is not part of the sample. This just came from me. So it's
interesting stuff.
Yeah. And it's kind of depressing.
Not sure. I was going to say, not sure how I feel coming out of that.
They hope the research actually will help them, definitively identify these things and then push for the advocacy to make the changes necessary to keep us, all healthier and safer.
Well, maybe they should make cashmere cheaper.
That too.